Welcome back. We just learned all about the Midwest, and now we're moving on to the Great Plains. The Great Plains and Midwest are very similar, and sometimes they're lumped as one region. The major differences between the Great Plains and the rest of the Midwest, though, the Midwest is relatively urbanized with many large cities like Detroit, Minneapolis, and Chicago, where the Great Plains has very few major cities. The Great Plains are made up of 6 states, including North and South Dakota, Iowa, Missouri, Nebraska, and Kansas. They're nicknamed the flyover states because when you fly over them, there's not much to see, and you don't really want to drive through them. They're long drives on mostly flat land. Prairies and plains are almost synonymous in this area, and they basically give you the gist of what there is to see in the Great Plains. However, the Great Plains are home to the buffalo, so a good way to remember the Great Plains is home on the range where the deer and the buffalo play. After the Great Plains, we're going to visit the Southwest. The Southwest is made up of 4 states: Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. Did I mention Texas? Texas is probably the most notable of the Southwest. And the Southwest is known for its many deserts and cacti, as you can see in that picture. The Southwest is really fast growing because it's part of the Sun Belt. Specifically, Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona are some of the fastest growing parts of the United States. They're very warm all year round, have almost no winter except for parts of Arizona, and they are very desirable to live in. Oklahoma is the one outlier here, as it's more like the Great Plains in the Southwest in terrain. However, its culture is very similar to Texas, which is why it's lumped here instead. Then we're going to visit the Mountain West. The Mountain West are made up of 6 states, including Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, and Nevada. The Mountain West is home to the tallest mountain range in the United States, the Rocky Mountains, which stretch all the way from the northern part of the United States into Mexico. They also extend into Canada and even into Alaska. The Mountain West, even though it looks like it's pretty desolate because states like Montana and Wyoming specifically are pretty empty, as well as Idaho, there are major cities in Colorado and Utah. The Mountain West, of course, known for its mountains, but as you can see in this picture, it's pretty green too, with a number of forests and valleys between the mountains that have lakes as well. And we're going to hit the West. The West is actually the most diverse of the regions. It's made up of 5 states: California, Oregon, Washington, Alaska, and Hawaii. Alaska and Hawaii are actually outliers because neither of them are connected to the rest of the United States. Alaska is very cold all year round, but they do have a summer. And Hawaii is very warm because it's a tropical environment. They don't really have much of a winter. Also, Washington and California don't have a lot in common either, for that matter, where Washington and Oregon are very similar. Northern California actually tends to be more like Washington and Oregon. Um, thing these all have in common is they are all on the west coast. They touch the Pacific Ocean, and that's why they're labeled one region. The territories in Washington, D.C., the United States, include there are 5 territories. In the Pacific Ocean, we have American Samoa, and we also have the island of Guam. In the Caribbean Sea, to the south of Florida, we have Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and the Northern Mariana Islands. And of course, we also have Washington, D.C., where the president and Congress are. None of the territories are located on the mainland. Only the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. are located on the mainland. And none of these have the same representation in our government that the states do, which is why they're a little bit different. I hope you've got a good overview of what we're going to learn about this year in the Statements Project, and I can't wait to tell you more tomorrow. We're going to start in New England and go from there. See you guys then.